So she brought me over and she was like,
I think I'm pregnant.
you what? Hi, everybody. I have a story time to tell you today because it was requested. Not because I want to tell you, but it was requested. And then again, I really could care less because this happened like, what, 6 years ago? So we're just clap it up for this story time. Before I get into any detail, this story is, I guess, gonna be explicit, but to a certain extent. Because I mean, I was an 8th grader when all of this kind of went down, and this nasty ass girl proceeded to just do things. I'm gonna tell you everything in a minute. Before I get into any further detail, make sure to, like the video. I'm not even joking. You probably might be like, oh, well, he's gonna be one of those YouTubers who ask for, like, please support me in this, because this is disgusting. Well, the girl's disgusting. I'm never folding for that, but you know what I mean. I'll tell you in a minute. Also, be sure to subscribe for more videos like now and turn on my post notifications, all that good stuff. All right. Done promoting for the next however long this video is. So the time that I was friends with a girl who got pregnant in the 8th grade. That is a long ass title. This is sad. Okay, I'm gonna start. So when I was in 8th grade, I went to a school that, it was a pretty big school because there were 2 schools actually attached to it. So it was divided by 5th and 6th graders on one side and then 7th and 8th graders on the other side. So, I went through the 5th and 6th graders and then, the next year I would come back and be on the other side of the school, which is technically its own school. But, I was in 8th grade and I was friends with this girl. Obviously I'm not really gonna give the name because I don't know if she watches what I do or anything like that. We're just gonna call her Kathy. Any Kathys out there, I am so sorry that I chose your name, but like I have no choice. Just if you're not nasty, then you know yourself better than I do. Okay, just Kathy is gonna be her name. Just get over it. Okay, so I was friends with this girl named Kathy from in the 7th grade because we were in the same gym class together. When I first met her and everything, she was really nice. Again, I make friends pretty easily and everything. So when we would run the mile in gym, I would always see her outside, and then we ended up just talking one day and I would run next to her, and then we became really good friends really fast. Within the first week, she started talking a lot about, how her parents treat her and stuff at home and how life is and stuff. And I was very supportive about it because she seemed like pretty serious about that stuff. And then there would be other times that we would be in gym class. This is again in 7th grade, by the way. There would be times we'd be in gym class and, she'd start talking about how she liked certain boys and stuff like that. Then one day she said she liked me, and then she said she was just playing, and then I got upset. But now I'm actually happy she didn't like my ass because, again, she nasty as hell, but we gonna get to that later on in the story. So, next year rolls around, we're now 8th graders, and, everyone's pretty pumped and stuff. We have really good teachers. They're somewhat a tad bit lenient, but then again, we're only in 8th grade, so we're like hella restricted to do certain things. And this time, she ended up being in one of my classes. I kind of forget what class it was. It was a while ago, but she ended up being in my class and sat right next to me. I think it was science. Or no, fuck. I forgot. Just get over that. She ended up being in one of my classes and she sat right next to me. This class didn't have a desk, like individual desks. It was kind of like these lab tables. We would use some type of science room. I still forgot what class it was. We used some type of science room for this class, but it wasn't science though. I don't know. Moving on. We had the lab desk and, it would be like 4 people who sat at each desk. And she ended up sitting right next to me on like the first day and I was like, oh, Kathy, hey, what's up? And she was like, hi, Jason. So we sat down, chatted it up, and then just fast forward like a month or 2 into school. The fall sports started and everything. A lot of people would stay after school for after school clubs and all that. And, just everyone was getting used to the whole schedule. So me still being friends with Kathy, every day we'd go to school. I'd see her in the morning in the cafeteria. We'd talk a little bit and then, we'll just head off to class. Every day she'd come in with a smile on her face and, like, oh, hey, Jason, oh, I got some stuff to tell you. And you know how girls gossip. But, we were really close friends, so she didn't really mind telling me anything, which is completely fine. So, one day she just sat down and was like, I met this guy. And I was like, oh, well, congratulations, young 13-year-old. You met a guy. What was his name? Oh, his name was, I don't know, Johnny. And I was like, oh, that's nice. Where'd you meet him? On Facebook. Oh, my God. This is strike one because I already know it's going to go downhill from here. But I'm going to support you. Kathy, nasty. So she said that she met this guy named Johnny on Facebook. Again, that's not his real name or anything. All the names I'm using is fake, but I'm only gonna just introduce two. So it was kind of weird because it was like, you know, oh, she's telling me this, which is fine. But then again, I never really got into talking about relationship stuff at this age. But, you know, she was so happy and stuff. And like, I was really intrigued. Like, you know, oh, you know, you're talking to a guy named Johnny. That's pretty cool and stuff. Clap it up. Another week goes by, or 2 weeks, I should say. And then she comes into class really happy. So she came into class and sat down next to me like, Jason, I got some news to tell you. And I'm like, girl, calm your ass down. What's up? She was like, I met another guy on the internet. And I was like, oh, you did? What was his name this time? She's like, oh, well, his name was Reginald. And I was like, wow, Reginald. Is that Johnny's new name or something? She's like, stop playing. He's my new boyfriend. Look, girl, are you dead ass right now? What do you mean your new boyfriend? First off, turn that smile upside down because it's not that serious. Nasty. Secondly, a week before that, she kind of started talking about the stuff that her and Johnny would do after school, you know, like go to the local like fast food places and walk to the parks, and like she said something about him trying to finger her. We gonna leave it at that. That shit was, she was happy about it, you know? I mean, I guess she would be happy. I don't know. She said that, you know, when he put him in there that she started getting a tingly sensation. Moving on. So the next week she started talking about this guy named Reginald, and supposedly they're dating now, and I was like, oh, okay, you know, cool. And then I started to say, you know, well, don't be messing around with too many guys because I understand you're having fun and stuff, and I don't really care about your lifestyle. Like, that honestly completely does not matter to me at all, but just stay safe. Moral of the story, because her ass was acting up. So, you know, I told her, you know, just stay safe, have fun and stuff. But then I kind of stopped because I tried to get it out, but I didn't want to just completely say it because, you know, I was pretty much friends with her. I didn't really care for any of that. She kind of just laughed it off. We did our work. End of the period happened. Bam. Not even a week. This time I remember it was like 2 or 3 days after because it was the weekend and then that Monday came. I saw her in the morning. No, actually, this was like sometime during passing period. She stopped at my locker and just like stood at the side of the locker and was just like doing one of those like, you know, like in movies when they just have the locker open and they're like behind the locker. So I like closed my locker a little bit and she's like right there like, Jason, guess what I did this time? I'm like, bitch. What'd you do, Kathy? What's up? She's like, Reginald, that was a no-go. I didn't really mean to say his name like that. But I was like, what do you mean you didn't mean to say his name? You clearly said his name in the things that you guys did together. Congrats. But like, what do you want this time, basically? And I was kind of upset because it's like, the more she talks about this, I don't know if she really thinks I'm interested. Like, whoa, you're a cool gal, because the shit was sick. So she said she's dating someone else, and his name was Ronald. I'm like, okay, why? At this point, she's like, I just like to experiment. And I'm like, strike two. Collect yourself, get it together, go to the nurse's office, just tell her what you did, she'll check you out and come back, and then you can talk to me. So, you know, she's like, you know, now I'm dating Ronald, all this stuff is sweet and stuff, and then I'm like, okay, have fun. Over the next 2 weeks, every other day, and I don't know if she was dead serious about all those people at the time, but we'll get into it. Non-stop over the next 2 weeks, she would like every other day mention someone else's name and talk about how, you know, she's gonna start hanging out with them after school. They're gonna take her to this restaurant, they're gonna go bowling or something together. And at this point, it got to the point where I don't even know if I wanted to be friends with her anymore, but I never really mentioned it. It was just the whole, whenever she comes around, now it's like, oh, Kathy's here. Now I have to worry about this. I'm gonna try and ignore her, but I don't want to do it in a rude way, if that makes any sense. Around, I'll say October, early November, she didn't show up to school for a week. And we didn't really have phone numbers for some reason. It was one of those like really close acquaintance type relationships. I would see her on Facebook, but again, I never really got on a lot like she did. Again, she was addicted to that shit, so she didn't show up to school for about a week. This was like in early November. And then she showed up one day. She looked kind of down, and I was like, the back of my mind, I was like, with all the guys that she supposedly was with, did any of them so she came in and sat down next to me. I was so weirded out. I don't know. I was being hell of awkward. I was like, okay, should I just say hi? Should I just try and ignore her like I usually did? And then she just looked over to me in the saddest face. She was like, Jason, I need to talk to you after class. And then she just kind of puts her head down and doesn't say anything. And I was like, oh, okay. So after class, at this school, we literally had like, 2-3 minutes tops to go to our next class. So we didn't even go to our next class. We went towards like the bathrooms because it's kind of like a concave corner. And it's like the hallway, the main hallway's right there. There's like an opening. And then like the bathrooms are like against the wall, like in the corner of the hallway or something weird like that. So it's kind of like quiet over there. So she brought me over and she was like, I think I'm pregnant. You what? Kathy, you said what? Because I'm not registering this shit right. I mean, but then again, when she said it, she didn't necessarily cry, but then again, she sure as hell wasn't happy about the whole situation, but she just kind of looked at me and was like, you know,
Jason, I'm pregnant.
and then it's like the way she said it to me kind of made me feel like I was, you know, her husband. Bitch, that's not happening. But anyway, you know, she told me this and I was like, what? That was me showing emotion, but I don't want to show too much emotion because I was very shocked. And to anyone who, you know, has dealt with any of that, I'm not trying to talk about this in a negative way. It's the fact that, you know, she was messing around with like 20 plus dudes at the time. And I mean, if me being in the 8th grade, a 13-year-old boy who's just doing, you know, what he's supposed to do, and this girl comes around, I think she was like a year older. She was 14. She said something about her like not passing a previous grade or something like that. That kind of scared me. You know, I've never experienced anything like that before. I've never had a friend supposedly who just kind of puts herself out there, and I'm like, you know, chill out. You know, she just chose to do that, so I don't know. But she told me this, and I was like, you know, have you talked to anyone that's gonna be okay? I know you've been out of school for weeks, so what's been going on? She was like,
I've been with another guy.
Bitch, hold on, because you just said that your ass was pregnant. How the hell you gonna go out? And this is why when I make friends, I gotta... Bitch, okay, so yeah, she said that she was with multiple dudes again the week that her ass was out of school. Now I just looked at her and I was like, really? She looked at me and she was like,
what, Jason? What, you're not gonna support me or something?
and I was like, hell no, I'm not gonna support you at this point because you crossed the line. First off, it was, what was his name? See, damn it, I forgot the fake names. Oh, first off, it was Johnny, then it was Reginald, then it was Ronald ass, and Ronald, she low-key showed me a picture of him on Facebook. Ugh. And then the point that I was trying to ignore her, I didn't even listen to their names at all. She just would tell me dudes, and I'd be like, okay, cool. You're nasty still, but I'm just gonna pay attention. So when she told me that for that whole time that she was out of school, she was messing around with more guys, I just lost it. And I started to walk away from her, and she turned back around and started crying in the hallway like,
Jason, oh my gosh, why are you leaving me like this?
And then people started looking at me like I was in charge of that, when I sure as hell was not. So yeah, I walked away. I didn't talk to her for about a couple of days, even though she was at school. And then when she would come in that class, I guess she talked to the teacher and was like, you know, I don't want to sit by Jason, so she didn't sit next to me. And so like the whole rest of the month of November passed. We had our Thanksgiving break, and then when we came back, you know, in December, a couple of weeks before we got out for the, you know, semester or anything like that, like at lunch I would see her. She sat next to me once and started talking. She was like, you know, I'm still pregnant, I don't know what to do, should I get an abortion? And we learned about abortions in 7th grade, so I was like, bitch, you tripping and slipping. No, don't do that. I mean, I don't know if anyone who watches this supports that, but I'm like, no, that's kind of messed up. At this point, your ass deserves it, sadly. I hate to say that, but with someone that oblivious to what they're doing, they know is kind of just out there, she gotta stop. And a lot of other people knew about that. That's why in 8th grade, I was kind of I tried to be really funny to like gain more friends. I don't know why I thought that would work, but the person who I was talking to specifically just, you know, kind of, I don't know, a lot of people didn't like her because they knew about her, and then they saw that I was friends with her, so they thought that I'd maybe be doing stuff like that to other girls or something, or maybe that I was even doing that with her or anything. But it kind of sucked, but I got over it in the long run because we ended up just not talking completely. Obviously, it takes, 9 months to have a baby, so after that, I just completely stopped talking to her, just wiped everything out. We didn't talk anymore. It was never any bad, like, blood where she hated my guts. It was just that weird tension where it was like, I don't really have respect for you anymore. We just gotta cut loose about it. So the next year, I was in high school. We had our first football game, or one of the first football games. So I remember going with my friends, and oh yeah, also I jumped like a whole year ahead, so I'm sorry if the transition was terrible. This story creeps me the hell out to this day. Okay, hip hip hooray. So I was at the football game the next year, and I was at the top of the bleachers because I guess the freshmen had to sit up there. But you know, one of the first games, I went up to the top and sat with like a group of my friends. I ended up seeing Kathy come to the game, go up the bleachers with like 2 of her friends, and she sat right behind me, and I was like, oh my God, this is Kathy. Whatever shall I do? So the friends around me kind of knew, and they looked at me weird like, oh my gosh, is that Kathy? And I was like, yeah, dude, that's crazy. And then like a decent amount of people knew about her being pregnant in the 8th grade, and she ended up having her baby and everything that I heard on Facebook. I was like, you know, I can't really... She was having fun, And I wasn't, Shorty was wild, moral of that. But I saw her behind and, something happened and like somebody threw a tennis ball or something and it went on the bleachers and everyone was looking up and I ended up turning around and she had like one of those little summer spaghetti strap type shirts. But it was kind of like, her belly was out a little bit. And I was like, your belly out, it's okay, but what's going on? I looked at her belly and it looks like it was pregnant again. And I was like, you know what, Lord? I'm not even gonna say nothing. I don't know if she is. I don't know if she's faking at this point. I don't know what the hell is going on with her. But damn, get it together. Again, I'm not talking about anyone specifically. If you've dealt with anything like this in the past, I'm completely sorry. This video is not to offend anyone. I'm just telling you what Kathy ass was up to. Because Kathy was tripping. I saw her belly again and everyone was like, oh my gosh, is she going for round 2? And I was like, I honestly don't know. Also, if it seems like I'm adding too much humor in this, I apologize. I'm not trying to be funny, but I don't want to make it seem so serious because again, she like wanted to do this stuff, but then when she ended up getting pregnant, she just was all like, feeling sorry for herself and was like, why is this happening to me? Like, huh? I don't know. At this age, like even in high school, I ended up being friends with a couple of people who, happened to go through that, but not in such a like inappropriate way, like sleeping with like multiple people, but just, ended up happening by accident. They kind of just like somewhat regretted the decision, but I was cool, but I never was like, I don't really know how to explain that, but that was wild. I have not seen her since that day at the football game, so don't even ask me like what's going on. I don't know and I don't want to know. Yeah, but that pretty much concludes the story of how I ended up being friends with an 8th grader who became pregnant. Wow, that is so weird to say. Oh my gosh. And I'm actually making a video about it. Well, there goes my YouTube career. But if you guys enjoyed this video or story time, please make sure to leave a like. Again, that helps me so much. And if you don't like the video, then you just might become like her. You know what I was getting ready to say. Also, if you want, please make sure to subscribe. I post a lot of videos like this. I try to just connect with you guys on multiple bases. So yeah, please do that. And that's pretty much it. If you guys want more stuff like this, make sure to drop a comment below. Write some stuff down. I always read my comments, honestly. I really do. So yeah, that's it on the story and stuff. So my next video, bye. Oh, that was so weird. Okay, yeah, bye.